What led to the recent military confrontation between the SPLA-IO and SSPDF in Upper Nile? Join us as we discuss this and more only on Beyond the Headlines. Our guest on the program is Major General Dickson Gatluak Jock Nyuot, the Deputy Chief of General Staff for Administration and Finance for the South Sudan Front Army under the command of former Army Chief General Malong Awan Anei. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm so glad to join you.
Thank you. On Monday, the SPLA-IO spokesperson, Colonel Lam Paul Gabriel, released a press statement in which he stated, on 20/3/2022, at about 8:30 a.m., the SSPDF launched an aggressive simultaneous attacks against the SPLA-IO positions of Jeko, Lonyang, Wankwar Bay, and Kwerkiem in clear violation of COHA signed on 21st December 2017. These continuous intentional aggressions against the SPLA-IO do not only show lack of political will, but also intend to take the country back to a full-scale war. The SPLA-IO calls upon all its forces to remain calm and vigilant during this period while it seeks the best possible solution to end this crisis. Over the weekend, fighting erupted in Jeko Payam in Maywood County in Upper Nile between the SSPDF and the SPLA-IO under First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar. What do you think led to this conflict?
Yeah, thank you very much. Mine must be very short and precise answer on this issue. In fact, it was on Sunday when the government forces dislodged out the forces of SPLA under command of First Vice President in Jeko. Before I come to say this, when you talk of Jeko, you talk of Maywood, or we call it the Eastern Corridor or the Eastern Upper Nile. This is where I came from. So I fall under that county of Maywood from Upper Nile. By myself, I'm from Maywood County. In fact, if you look at it, according to my own understanding, the government was having intention of trying to expand their territorial ground in order to make sure that they expand their operation, they control the Sobat River. And controlling of Sobat River, it is a heavy blows on the side of the opposition, because when you look at Sobat River, this is where the rebel forces or the SPLA-IO have been using it, where they collect the revenue using so many routes. The boats that are coming using river, Sobat from Gambela, Ethiopia, going to Nasser, going to Akobo, and up to going to Malakal, they are using the Sobat River. Government has been controlling only the stream, which is the Joko River. The Joko River is a part, is just we call it a tributary, which is come out from the Sobat River. So when you look at Pagak and the stream, which is called Joko, it has nothing there. The government is not getting anything. Yes, there is a road, but it's still the IO or the SPLA-IO was having upper hand on the other side, getting tax from Joko, because they tax the boat that are coming in and going, coming out and going in. So this is the way I look at it. So government want to take the full control of the Ethiopia border. So this is one of the strategies that the government did, which I know. Second to that, there has been confrontation here and there because the movement of government forces and even some civilians who are in my woods has never been that good for all this time. There are some time when there is clashes, the rebel may come in, trying to block some roads, and even the vehicles moving from Pagak to Maiwut to Longashuk. So that they never have a good cooperation all this long. When there is any chaos or any crisis, so it is easy for rebels to get in because they were not far. It's a matter of hours, and then they get in. So they want to make sure that the rebels are cleared out from the area, so that they will not benefit or they will not cause any insecurity. And that is why they chase them out from Tru, they chase them out from Jekau, and they chase them out from other areas around my woods. This is the way I look at it.
Now, who is the SSPDF commander in Upper Nile?
I may not talk of the whole Upper Nile. I may talk of the Eastern Corridor. When I talk of Eastern Corridor, I'm talking about Maiwut, Nasser, Wulang, and then also some part of Akobo, and the Ethiopia border. So the current commander now, as we speak, they divide the military barrack into two. But the overall command now is General James Ushanpot, who is now in Maiwut. Major General James Ushanpot, who is in Maiwut now, is the one now in charge of the whole forces in the Eastern Corridor, being deputized by Walden, by Brigadier Walden. Brigadier Walden now is the one in charge of the forces who are under SSPDF in Pagak. So there are two categories of forces. The one in Maiwut, these are the allied to the government, and they have a different name. They call themselves Special Operation, Maiwut Special Operation Force. And these forces, these are the one who is split or defected from Riyak some years back, 2 years ago, and then being part of the government now. They are commanded by Major General James Wushan. But the government forces, SSPDF forces from Juba, they stay in Pagak, and they are being commanded by Brigadier Walden.
In 2019, General James Ochanquot was among the top commanders of the SPLA-IO before he defected to the government side with around 7,000 soldiers. What factors do you think contributed to his defection from Vice President Riek Machar?
This is a very good question, and if you look at the defection of General James Wushan in 2019, to me, I would have to say that it is a control of the area. Let's say the Eastern Upper Nile or the Eastern Lower, and Maiwut County in particular. What caused the defection of Major General Wushan to be part of the government? It was his disagreement between him and General James Kor Chol. If you look at these two generals, before the situation escalates and before Wushan defected, the two generals were exercising their military, political, and economics on Actually, they were actually, you see, exercising the control or the military or economic control on the people of Maiwut, of which each and every one were in a position of trying to control the economic of the county, and also control the people militarily and then politically. And that was the beginning or the genesis of the problem before the defection of General Wishan. So this issue brought conflict between the two IO generals who were James Wishan and General James Korchol. And so it brought the insecurity, and there was the infighting among the forces of SPLA-IO. And then Wishan happened to get the support from, when he was defeated, it happened that he has to get an alliance using government, you see, to lean on. So this was the issue. The way I look at it, or to make it short, I would have said that it is a kind of warlordism, because Kor happened to be from Longshuk, Wishan happened to be from Maiwut, but they were having a fight over the resources in the area, of which each and every one of them want to control the resources, want to control the people there, want to control the people militarily in the area. So it was about the control and about the resources, the control of resources, or the economy, and the control of the people. That was the main thing.
So it was not,
and that one is led.
It was not political ideology that factored.
It was not political ideology. It started with the control of the resources, and then the issue of political ideology coming later on when the fighting erupted in 2019. When the fighting erupted in 2019, one side was defeated, and then they have to make a coalition or make sure that they brought the government force in. And these were the majority of the people, and we call them the Shewao. When you look at the Shewao, these are the majority in my wood area. And then they were told that, look, now the IO turn against you, so the community has to uprise and denounce the leadership of SPLM, SPLA-IO. So that was the beginning. And the other thing was like a failure administratively from Dr. Riek Machar, because Riek himself, as the leader of the party, failed, you see, to reconcile or to bring together his two generals who were fighting, who were actually dividing the community. So after all, they end up failing to convince themselves. And then we can find himself when he was having no upper hand from the area, and then you find himself getting a coalition with the government.
This past Monday, the SPLA-IO High Command protested against the military confrontation by refusing to participate in the Joint Command meeting in Juba. What does this mean for the security arrangement and the integration of the SPLA-IO and SSPDF forces?
If you look at it, the situation that is happening in Juba, they walk out from citizen meeting in Juba, and when you look at this, as they stated very clear that the cessation of hostility has been violated by the government. So the SPLM, SPLA-IO has right on this matter, because there is no any reason for the government to be on offensive while people are talking. When people are talking, you see, and people are negotiating peace. So if you look at it, it means that the SPLM, SPLA-IO, the issue of when they talk of violation of the core is clear. And this one, when it comes to cessation of hostility being violated, definitely that it will bring the interference of which the security arrangement, it will not work. Because when people are fighting, how can you continue to implement the security arrangement? Definitely that the violation of cessation of hostility or the ceasefire will affect the security arrangement, which is chapter 2. And definitely that when it affects the security arrangement, which is the main part, it means that the whole peace agreement collapses. So definitely that it will bring chaos, and there will be no more conducive environment for the people to negotiate, because when there are violations here and there, definitely that the security arrangement will not move on.
In a letter addressed to the RJMEC interim chairman, the SPLA-IO stated, Honorable Interim Chair, the SPLA-IO members of the security mechanisms have been presenting violations of cessation of hostilities agreement, COHA, made by our peace partners, IG, NSS, and SSPDF in various CITISAM and RJMEC forums, plenary meetings since the beginning of the implementation of the Transitional Security Agreement, TSA. We believe that RJMEC is mandated by the agreement, RARCUS, to address the following violations. Continuous unprovoked attacks on SPLM, SPLA-IO areas, cantonment sites, and the Unified Forces training centers. Facilitation and the encouragement of defections. This past Tuesday, March 22nd, the SPLA-IO tendered their suspension of their participation in the security mechanism meetings, including RJMEC meetings. It is important to note the reconstituted Joint Monitoring and Evaluation Commission, abbreviated as RJMEC, is constituted under Chapter 7 of the RARCUS and is responsible for monitoring and overseeing the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement and the mandate and the task of the Artegano, including the adherence of the parties to the agreed timelines and implementation schedule. In case of non-implementation of the mandate and task of the Artegano or other serious deficiencies, the RJMEC shall recommend appropriate correction action to the Artegano. The RJMEC reports directly to the heads of state and government of IGAD. Since the fighting started on Sunday, thousands of civilians are reported to have been displaced and some have fled to Ethiopia. What will the humanitarian situation look like? And what should be done about it?
In fact, if you look at the civil population, because I told you this is my area, on Sunday, a huge number of civil population were displaced from Joko, from Nyang. They were displaced from Pilwal. They were displaced from Biyen. Crossings, people were fleeing, crossing to the Ethiopia border. As we speak now, they crossed to Joko. In fact, there are two Joko. There is that Joko on the west bank, on the east bank. I think we have to say east or west, or we can say different on the other side. It is South Sudan Joko. The other side is Ethiopian Joko. So the population that were displaced from that side crossed to the other side of the river. They are now being settled on the other side. It shows that there is a very huge gap now. They left their shelters where they are staying. Now they are in open air, especially the children, the elderly people, the women are become now vulnerable. So there is they are in a dire need of humanitarian assistance. But how are they going to be assisted? If you look at the situation now, they have crossed to the other territory of Ethiopia, which is now the other government. And then when you look at the other side also, the Ethiopian government has its own problem. As we speak now, there is a conflict also within that side of Joko, on the other side of Ethiopia, whereby there are militia crossing from Burma or from South Sudan, coming raiding cattle on the other side, and also you see, and also trying to abduct children. And that is why there was a meeting in Juba when the Gambela, the president of Gambela came to Juba, trying to talk to the leadership of South Sudan to make sure that this issue, the border insecurity, need to be stopped. So they are jumping from conflict to conflict. You see, it is a very hard situation, and they need a real intervention, especially by the humanitarian assistance, either through Ethiopia or through any means, any reachable means, any means that can reach them, because they are in dire need of humanitarian assistance as we speak. When you look at the border, when something happens on the other side, it affects the other side. So the conflict in Ethiopia, it affects the South Sudanese at the border. The same thing also when there is a conflict from this Joko, which is the South Sudan part, it also affects the Ethiopian government in Gambela, because it is like the same community having the same culture, having the same norms, and also sharing, you see, well, at the border. So it's a very, very difficult situation that they are in now.
It so happens that different regions in Upper Nile are under the control of different leaders. For instance, the SSPDF controls some areas and they are expanding their territorial gain. Meanwhile, First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar also has control of some areas, as well as Vice President Taban Dengai. In your opinion, with the various forces seeking control of Upper Nile, what do you suspect will be the ultimate outcome for the area?
If you look at it, the control of Upper Nile, Taban is there trying to control his group. Riek Machar is there trying to have his own group. Former chief of army from SPLA-IO, General James Gatluak is also with his forces. It means that Upper Nile will not have peace. Upper Nile will not have peace. And when you look at the Upper Nile having no peace, it is a signal to the whole country. If the Upper Nile will not be having peace, and then the conflict, definitely the conflict will actually spread, and the situation will escalate and go to other regions. Like if we have to go back to the same thing of 2013, the war is started. When it started in Juba, but it was fought in Upper Nile. But within a short time, it was shifted to Juba. So it is clear that when there is no peace in Upper Nile, definitely that when there is no peace in Upper Nile, there is no peace in the whole country.
Yes, thank you, Major General Dickson Gatluak Jock Nyuot, for joining me on Beyond the Headlines and offering your insight on the current conflict that is taking place in Upper Nile. Thank you for joining me on the program.
Thank you very much. I'm so glad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I shall be seeking further clarification on the ongoing situation in Upper Nile from the SPLA-IO spokesperson, Colonel Paul Gabriel, as well as the SSPDF spokesperson, Lul Rai Kwang. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page at Sunrise Media.